Right now on Morning News Now, holding on to hope. Our NBC News colleague Savannah Guthrie once again pleading with the person who took her mother, Nancy. In a video posted to Instagram overnight, Savannah urging her mother's abductor to do the right thing as the search for Nancy enters its third week. Now investigators working to find out if the glove seen in this chilling surveillance video and a similar one containing DNA evidence found near Nancy's property came from the same person. We have Savannah's full message and the latest on the investigation coming up. In Washington, government shutdown fallout. We're entering the first full week of yet another partial government shutdown in Washington. Democrats refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security after immigration enforcement operations in Minneapolis turned deadly. And with Congress on recess this week, there is no end in sight. We have more on the reforms Democrats are asking for and which employees must work without pay. Plus, President's Day deals. It's the first major holiday shopping weekend of the year. We've got the best deals and the ones you can ignore later this hour. And finally, staying on top, Team USA holding on to its spot in the top 3 medal count at the Winter Olympic Games. That's despite a heartbreaking performance from a heavily favored star over the weekend. I'll bring you the latest from Milan Cortina, along with which events are the ones to watch in week 2 of the Games. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Monday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. We begin this hour with the ongoing search for Nancy Guthrie, which is now entering its third week with no arrests. Investigators believe the mother of our NBC News colleague Savannah Guthrie was abducted from her home in Arizona, but law enforcement still has not said publicly if it was a robbery gone wrong or some other kind of crime. A source familiar with the investigation tells NBC News that a glove containing DNA evidence was recovered about 2 miles from Nancy's home. That source says it appears to be consistent with the glove worn by a person who was seen on Nancy's doorbell camera the morning she disappeared. Authorities are now searching for that male suspect. They describe him as about 5'9" to 5'10" with an average build. He was wearing a black Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack that you can only get at Walmart. Investigators say they have fielded more than 30,000 tips since the start of the investigation, with many pouring in after the release of this video. Last night, Savannah posted another heart-wrenching message. It's aimed directly at the person who took her mother, saying it is never too late to do the right thing.
I wanted to come on and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch joins me now from Tucson with the latest on the investigation. Jesse, good morning. Let's talk a little more about some of the evidence here. This isn't the first glove that's been found near Nancy's home, but what more do we know about this one that investigators are focusing on a little more right now?
Yeah, Joe, good morning. So what authorities have told us is that we know from a source familiar that it was about 16 gloves that have been found in the surrounding broader Tucson area. And what we now know directly from the FBI is that there was a glove found in a field near the side of the road, about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home where we are right now. And what we're told by the FBI is that that was packaged up, overnight Thursday into Friday and sent to the lab in Florida to be tested. They have preliminary results, but they are waiting to get more information on that. We know from the source familiar that this is an unknown male's DNA. We also know that this glove appears to be consistent with the glove seen in that chilling surveillance video that you're seeing right there. But to be clear, we don't have much detail as to what the term consistent means. Is it the brand of glove? Is it the color of the glove? Is it the shape of the glove? So we do not know much about what that consistency is referring to there. And again, we also, going back to questions about DNA, we'd been told by authorities in recent days that there was a DNA sample that was found at the property. They wouldn't specify where on the property that DNA was found, and what authorities have said is that it does not match Nancy Guthrie and it does not match those who had been in close contact with her. So, you know, we have at least 2 different DNA samples that have been found. Unclear if they are connected at all and what kind of testing is going on there. But there are outstanding questions and outstanding, results that we're waiting to hear from authorities on as this investigation enters its 3rd week.
Jesse, in addition to the glove, there was just a lot of police activity over the weekend near Nancy Guthrie's home. We know a SWAT vehicle was seen entering one neighborhood. Still, though, no new arrests. What do we know about that and just where the focus of this investigation seems to be going right now?
Yeah, according to some of our team sources, what we're looking at now is authorities are leaning away from the individual whose home was searched on Friday, leaning away from an individual who's involved in a traffic stop that got a lot of attention days back. And also, according to these sources, authorities are leaning away from looking at Nancy Guthrie's family. But to be clear, leaning away does not mean that anyone has been absolved of any wrongdoing or all wrongdoing. At this point, there is no publicly named suspect. So from our perspective in the public, authorities haven't named anybody. They may be really leaning into someone, but they have not shown their cards on that if they are. So at this point, presumably everyone has not been ruled out.
And Jesse, over the past couple of weeks, we know just how much the local Tucson community has been showing their support to the Guthrie family. Tell us more about how they're just continuing to do that.
Yeah, and it's not just the Tucson family, Joe. And of course, as our colleague Kelly O'Donnell first highlighted last week, people in this community have been putting up yellow flowers and ribbons, and you can see some of that memorial behind us here. I should say not a memorial, this tribute that is being put out here to show support for Nancy Guthrie, for Savannah, and for their family, and trying to echo those calls of bring her home, something that has become a common refrain over the last couple weeks. But it's not just the Tucson community now. I met a couple here over the weekend that said they drove about 2 hours from the Phoenix area to leave some flowers to show their support on Valentine's Day. And we're hearing from people on social media, and also I talked with someone yesterday in South Carolina who says she tied a yellow ribbon in her neighborhood and has had other people that she knows reach out saying that when they are seeing that, they're thinking of the Guthrie family as well. So there's this chorus of support stretching well beyond Tucson now, Joe. And again, this is as we enter the 3rd week since Nancy Guthrie was last seen.
Yeah, that support all over the country, all over the world right now. Jesse Kirsch, appreciate your updates here. Thank you so much. For more analysis on the investigation, I want to bring in former FBI hostage negotiator and CEO of the Convincing Company, Chip Massey. Chip, good to have you with us. Is it surprising at all now as we entered the 3rd week of this investigation that authorities still aren't saying what type of crime they think it is? Why do you think they haven't been able to get to that point yet?
Yeah, Joe, good to be with you. The whole thing about, categorizing this as a specific crime really isn't germane to what's going on, right? I know the public or some locals might be concerned about that, but the reality is Nancy was taken from her home, and that's exactly what they are focused in on.
Talk to us about the role misinformation online can play and distract from the real investigation here. I mean, we've seen these reports of influencers and independent journalists descending on this area. They don't necessarily maybe follow the same standards as the mainstream media and what they choose to share, what they choose to report, the philosophies they throw out there. What are some of the problems that can create?
Sure, as you can imagine, when you have a lot of people vying in online, while it's great in terms of helping us get more eyeballs on the situation, there could be some competing narratives. So what we want to stay away from are, just like you mentioned, Joe, some type of philosophies or different tangents that really aren't related to the facts of the case. And people that don't have direct, that weren't in the area or don't have information that is helpful here. So it's one of those things where we want the people who are calling in the tip lines to focus in on, this is what I saw, or this is somebody I know. And that makes it a more direct thing. And that way, things that come in are much more easily accessible to the investigators, and they can go out and run down these leads.
I want to tap into some of your just general FBI experience here. We've been talking so much about this glove this morning, DNA, the FBI's, genetic database. What are some of the possibilities here? How big of a role could DNA play in trying to get some more answers and narrow down the focus to find a suspect here?
Well, DNA is huge, as you know. Whenever we're able to absolve people of crimes that they might have been falsely committed for, or we're able to absolutely finger, yes, you were the one, your DNA was present. So what they're trying to do right now is identify a person to that DNA. And I know a lot of this preliminary, and again, we're not privy to all the information. There could be purposes that they're using this as a means of getting more information and people to come forward. But the idea here is that with DNA, it also creates another pressure on these captors. These things are coming closer and closer to you. We need you to do the right thing, like she said this morning in Savannah's video.
Yeah. And do we have an idea, just now that they have this sample from this glove, could we get answers from the DNA that quickly? How long does that usually take?
So as you can imagine, everything is on hyperspeed here. So it could be that they're looking at a lot of the results right now, or there could be something of a delay just because the process is time intensive. But, we're all looking forward for those results, and hopefully this will yield some very positive information for us.
That is what we're all hoping for. Chip Massey, appreciate your time and your expertise this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
In Washington, a partial government shutdown is now entering its third day. The Department of Homeland Security ran out of funding over the weekend after lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on making reforms to ICE. This means some federal employees, including TSA agents and FEMA workers, are now on the job without pay. And with Congress out for the week, there are growing concerns about how long this shutdown will last. NBC News Washington correspondent Alice Barr joins us now with the latest on this. Alice, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. This is all sounding all too familiar. This partial government shutdown, now the third of President Trump's second term. We don't know yet how it's going to stack up in length, but right now the two parties appear miles apart. This morning, the reality of another partial government shutdown is settling in after the Department of Homeland Security ran out of funding over the weekend with no deal on reforms to immigration enforcement operations.
We need change that is dramatic, that is bold, that is meaningful.
We have to protect law enforcement.
While negotiators struggle for common ground, ICE and Border Patrol at the center of the dispute are still funded through what President Trump called the Big Beautiful Bill, while critical workers at FEMA, the Coast Guard, and TSA are once again working without pay.
People's lives and livelihoods are being played with here.
Union leader Andrew Cardosa says many TSA agents are still recovering from the last shutdown in the fall that snarled air travel for weeks. He says they can't afford another extended stretch without pay.
For me, eventually, it's going to come down to, do I put gas in the car to go to work for free, or do I put food on the table with that money for my kid?
Democrats argue they have to stand firm in the wake of the shooting deaths of 2 American citizens by federal officers. They're demanding changes, including a uniform code of conduct for ICE and Border Patrol, judicial warrants before immigration arrests, and no masks on officers.
No police department in America doesn't identify themselves.
What are you going to do, expose their faces so you can intimidate their families? What we want is ICE to be able to do their job.
Congress is out until next week, but could come back to vote if there's a deal. And Republicans are accusing Democrats of political theater in the lead up to President Trump's State of the Union address next week. Democratic leadership is rejecting that, saying they hope to reach a deal before then. Joe?
All right, Alice, thank you so much. Let's keep this conversation going with NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach. Gary, the Trump administration's border czar Tom Homan did the media rounds yesterday. He talked about the Democrats' demands when it comes to reforming ICE. He also addressed reports of tensions with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. What did he have to say about everything?
Yeah, on those demands, which include putting an end to those roving patrols of immigration agents and forcing agents not to wear masks, he called those demands unreasonable. And he said that the agents are wearing masks purely for their safety. He also said agents are not racially profiling. However, half a dozen federal judges around the country have found evidence to the contrary there. On the reports of tensions of the relationship between Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and border czar Tom Homan, he said it wasn't zero. Take a listen to what he said.
Look, do me and Secretary Noem agree on everything? No. That's why we have discussions. That's why every day we have a multi-agency conference call and meeting, and we discuss going forward. And we have different opinions. Well, those different opinions are worked out, and we move forward.
And you'll remember, Joe, Homan was recently appointed to take over Minnesota's immigration operations after the former person, Greg Bovino, was seen as going a little too far in his tactics.
Gary, let's move on to some other political headlines. We understand a new round of talks between the U.S. and Iran scheduled for tomorrow. Right now, the U.S. is still building up that military presence in the region. What could come out of these talks? Do we know what all could be on the table?
Yeah, Iranian officials are coming out and saying there's actually a lot of common ground between the U.S. and Iran. They say on oil, on gas, on mining, and even they say on aircraft purchases. That's all going to be part of negotiations, according to them, that are going to be getting underway with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff in the coming days. Here's what Secretary of State Marco Rubio had to say about these talks.
We're dealing with people who make geopolitical decisions on the basis of pure theology. And it's a complicated thing. I mean, no one's ever been able to do a successful deal with Iran, but we're going to try. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be traveling. I think they're traveling right now to have important meetings, and we'll see how that turns out.
Now, the U.S. says they are prepared for the potential for a sustained military campaign if these talks aren't successful, Joe.
Gary, one more thing. Yesterday, we heard from former President Barack Obama. It's the first time we've heard from him since President Trump posted that racist video depicting the former president and his wife, Michelle, as apes. We know there's a history between President Trump and the Obamas. What did President Obama have to say about that and just President Trump's overall social media style?
Yeah. President Obama, that is not holding back about President Trump's comments here. He's calling the administration's behavior, broadly speaking, saying it's deeply troubling. He called it a clown show. Here's what he had to say on a recent podcast.
I think it's important to recognize that the majority of the American people find this behavior deeply troubling. There's this sort of clown show that's happening in social media and on television. And what is true is that there doesn't seem to be any shame about this among people who used to feel like you had to have some sort of decorum and a sense of propriety and respect for the office, right? So that's been lost.
Obama saying he believes most people around the country still believe in decency, courtesy, and kindness. Joe.
All right, Gary Grumbach, a lot to cover this morning. Thank you so much. Let's get a check on a powerful storm that's packing heavy rain set to hit California this morning. Meteorologist Andrea Romero is tracking the trouble for us. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. We have a close eye on California, as we can see with that moisture moving onshore. We have heavy rain falling right now from San Francisco into Monterey, starting to fall over here in the area of San Luis Obispo. We are expecting about 11 million people under this flood watch that will be in areas of Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. Sees those heavy rainfalls throughout the afternoon hours as the storm system continues to move onshore. We're also dealing with winter weather alerts that are going to be extending through Thursday, because this is the first of a series of systems that will be impacting the area. And those winter weather alerts are extending all the way into Colorado and into Montana. So it will be an active week ahead for the western coast of the country. Heavy rains will lead to flash flooding in Southern California. Today, we do have that risk of flash flooding, especially in those recent burn scar areas. And it will be impossible to travel across the Sierra Nevada due to that heavy snowfall that's expected in that region. Tomorrow, another strong push of moisture from another system that will be moving onshore. Widespread wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour are possible. And then Wednesday, that heavy rain will be moving still across Southern California, and we will begin to see more snow across the Rockies. Of course, that is beneficial snow. We do have that snow drought in that area that we're trying to overcome. The rainfall forecast for parts of California, locally up to 7 inches can fall, so that's a lot of rain. Of course, it's the time of year that we do need that rainfall. And then Sierra Nevada, we're looking at possibly up to 5 feet of snow that can accumulate through Wednesday. Now, it's a different story in the middle of the country. It's feeling like spring. We're dealing with record high temperatures. We're possibly going to be reaching this afternoon. We can see, look at Amarillo, Texas, close to 80 degrees will be the high, and that warmth will extend into the East Coast the next couple of days. So we're expecting additional records to fall as those temperatures continue to warm up. And across the Midwest, over in the northern plains, it will remain mild through midweek. 72 as a high in Louisville on Thursday, not bad at all. And in the Northeast, it's going to be mild. We're talking about temperatures that are going to be close to average in the Northeast. Of course, with the warmth, we do have the risk of some fire alerts. 9 million people at a risk, all the way from the Dakotas into Texas, parts of Oklahoma, New Mexico. We're expecting those intense wind gusts. We do have some wind alerts that are in effect. Around 31 million people will be impacted with those wind gusts that will be up to 50 miles per hour in parts of Texas. Now, clearing skies in the Northeast. We had a little bit of snowfall this morning coming into work.
It was a little surprise
just
this
a little,
morning.
Exactly, exactly. But that's moving out, and conditions will improve throughout the day.
All right, we'll take it. A little bit of everything in the forecast. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate it. 21 up. We want to get to the Olympics here. The shockwave's still reverberating this morning after that huge upset in men's figure skating at the Winter Olympics. 21-year-old Ilya Malinin, known as the Quad God, skated onto the ice Friday night as the heavy favorite to win gold, especially after many of his rivals struggled with their free skates. Well, Malinin struggled too. He fell twice, missed some other jumps, earning the two-time reigning world champion an 8th place finish. In a matter of minutes, his hopes of winning that first individual gold medal were dashed. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavonga is in Milan, joins us with more on this big story from over the weekend. Claudio, Malinin went into this competition with the world expecting him not just to win gold, but to win by a lot. I mean, he had not lost in 2 years. What happened?
Well, that's right, Joe. This is probably going to go down as the biggest surprise and upset of the Winter Games here, especially for Team USA. As you mentioned, Ilya Malinin arrived here with the reputation of being unbeatable. He's won pretty much everything for the last couple of years in figure skating. So the question here was not whether he will win a gold medal, but by what margin. Instead, as you mentioned, he stumbled many times, he fell twice, he failed to complete some of his trademark moves like the quad axel, even some simpler moves. And in the end, he finished 8th, and he's going to leave this medal. Well, he left his fans in shock and surprise, but also he's going to leave this Winter Olympics, the first one for him, without an individual medal. So big surprise there, John.
Yeah, no kidding. He does have the team gold at least, but obviously not what he was expecting here. We know moments after that performance, which stunned him and stunned the world, he spoke with Andrea Joyce. I mean, what all has he said about what happened with his performance, why it was so off?
Well, right after the performance, he had still a hot mix. So he was heard saying, well, you know, if they didn't let me off the Olympics team back in 2022 when he was still 17 years old, he was famously left out of the Olympics team, then I wouldn't have performed this badly and this poorly at this Olympics. Then later on, he admitted that all this pressure and all the media and the fact that he came in as a gold favorite, it was all too much for him. And later on, he posted some worrying messages on TikTok. One of them said, sometimes I wish something bad will just happen to me so I don't have to do it myself. The other one was, your little boy is tired, Mom. So that kind of was seen by many as a call for help by someone who, at the end of the day, is still a 21-year-old who had a lot of pressure placed on him, Joe.
Yeah, we have to keep that in mind. And he's certainly not the first figure skater or high-profile athlete to walk in with these high expectations, then run into problems. We know the same thing happened to Nathan Chen 8 years ago. And then just beyond figure skating, we can all remember Simone Biles dealing with the twisties. I mean, when it comes to Malin in here, sports psychologists, what do they say about this? What do they think is happening?
Well, of course, he's, you know, the last of a long line of athletes who disappointed in or came in with great expectations and then didn't win a medal at the Olympics. Simone Biles, at the end, she came in as favorite in Tokyo 2021, and then she withdrew from the finals because of a mental block. Michaela Schifrin herself, I mean, she was here at the Milano Cortina, but just as it happened in Beijing 2022, she didn't win any medal, even though she's the greatest alpine skier of all time. She won pretty much everything in the World Championship. But if there's one athlete that Ilia Malinin can look at to get some inspiration and hope for the future, it is Nathan Chen, because he also arrived as an 18-year-old favorite in Pyeongchang in 2018. He failed to win a medal, but then 4 years later in Beijing, of course, he won gold. So there's hope there for Ilia Malinin.
Yeah, it had a happy ending there, as did Simone Biles when she returned to the Olympics in Paris just a couple years ago. When it comes to Malinin, do we have an idea of what's next for him? I mean, the World Championships are around the corner. He'll still be young, 25 at the next Winter Olympics. I mean, is he saying much about his future right now?
Well, there's a person who's familiar with the situation and what's going on. He's not authorized to speak, but he confirmed that Ilia Malinin will take part in the exhibition of figure skating, which will take place here on Saturday. Now, there are no medals there. There's no judging, so everybody's just skating to wow the audiences. And so Ilia Malinin is expected to take part in that. And because there's no pressure, probably, you know, he'll come back and skate freely once again. Also, he's expected to take part in the World Championship, which are scheduled for next month in Prague. So that will be the first time where we'll see whether he went over the disappointment and whether he's back to being himself there, Joe.
All right, Claudio, a lot to cover here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Remember, you can catch all of the best Olympic action on Primetime in Milan, hosted by Mike Tirico, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC and streaming on Peacock. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, AI impact, how artificial intelligence chatbots can affect the mental health of younger generations. Up first, death discovery. It has been 2 years to the day since Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in a Russian prison. The new details about what was behind his passing, that's next. We're back now with new details about how Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in prison back in 2024. The United Kingdom and other European allies announced on Saturday an analysis found Navalny was poisoned with a deadly toxin found only in Ecuadorian dart frogs. The Russian prison service reported in February 2024 that Navalny died after feeling unwell following a walk around the high-security facility where he had been sentenced to more than 30 years in jail. But Navalny's widow, Yulia Navalny, she said that she always felt her husband was murdered. Here's what she told reporters this weekend.
Now, it's not just words. It's scientific proof that my husband, Alexei Navalny, was poisoned and killed by Russian government and by Vladimir Putin in Russian prison.
NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from London with more on this. Raf, good morning. I mean, this latest development, it comes from a joint statement from the British Foreign Ministry along with Sweden, France, Germany, and the Netherlands. They say analyses of the body showed Navalny was deliberately poisoned with this lethal toxin. Raf, what else can you tell us about this poisoning?
Joe, good morning. Yeah, so Navalny died exactly 2 years ago today in a prison colony way up in the Arctic Circle, around 1,000 miles from Moscow. And when his death was announced, the immediate suspicion was that he had been murdered by the Russian government. But the reality is this prison was so remote that nobody could say for sure what happened. Fast forward 2 years, and these European governments are now saying they have conducted an extensive analysis on biological components that were smuggled out of Russia. They are now confident that Navalny was poisoned using this toxin from South American dart frogs. And I want to read you just a little bit of this statement from the British Foreign Ministry. They're saying only the Russian state had the means, motive, and opportunity to deploy this lethal toxin to target Navalny during his imprisonment in a Russian penal colony in Siberia, and we hold it responsible for his death. And those European governments unveiling those findings over the weekend at the Munich Security Conference alongside Navalny's widow.
So, Raf, how are these European leaders then responding? I mean, is there any sort of way to seek justice for this?
So they're saying as a first step that they are going to report Russia to the UN's Biological and Chemical Weapons Watchdog, the OPCW, because technically use of poison like this is a chemical biological attack. They are discussing adding further sanctions on Russia, but Joe, the reality is coming up on 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion on Ukraine, there are already enormous sanctions on the Russian economy. Vladimir Putin, of course, has been indicted by the International Criminal Court for allegedly kidnapping Ukrainian children, a charge he denies. None of that seems to have really changed the behavior of the Kremlin. Jack.
And we know Navalny's death outraged the West. And on top of that, hundreds of people were detained for just laying flowers at his memorials around Russia. During his life, we should remember, Navalny, he fought Russian corruption. He staged these massive anti-Kremlin protests. He emerged as President Putin's fiercest foe. How's Russia responding to this revelation that he was poisoned?
So the official response from the Russian government is total dismissal. They are talking about this as the feeble-mindedness of Western fabulists. That is basically the playbook from the Russian government. Deny, deny, deny. The poisoning of Navalny that killed him. The poisoning of Navalny back in 2020 when he was on a flight inside of Russia. European governments later concluding he was poisoned with Novichok, a chemical agent. Poisoning of a former Russian agent here in London who eventually died back in the early 2000s. So they are denying, denying, denying. There is, of course, Joe, a real state of crackdown, of fear in Russia, so it's hard to get a sense of what ordinary Russians think about this latest news. But as yet, we have not really seen people flocking to memorials the way we did immediately after his death. Jack.
Raf Sanchez, thank you so much. Coming up, chatbot concerns, children and young adults rapidly adopting AI tools. But what impacts could these platforms have on their mental health? We've got the details next. Welcome back. A poll conducted by the Associated Press last year found, no surprise, younger people are adapting artificial intelligence into their daily lives at a faster rate than older people. But what is AI doing to their mental health and their developing minds? NBC New York reporter Chris Glorioso takes a closer look.
You choose the algorithm, assign it to your model, and now you can actually train the model.
At this small private school in New Rochelle, New York, they are going all in on AI.
You're setting the model equal to the algorithm.
AI is not going to go anywhere. We have to embrace it, and we have to teach our students how to use it wisely.
Virginia Miller is headmaster of the Thornton Donovan School, a K-12 institution that just announced artificial intelligence will be infused into the entire school's curriculum during the 26-27 school year. That means every student and every teacher will use it.
We can use AI to make better students. They're not going to replace teachers.
I think AI is great at being sort of an at-home tutor.
They're taking data from data sets and they're responding to prompts that you give them.
I personally use it for notes and organization.
Students here and across the country are already experimenting with AI. But how will AI chatbots impact learning? And more broadly, how might chatbots impact childhood?
As their brains are developing, we want to make sure that they have healthy inputs.
In an exclusive survey of the American Psychiatric Association, NBC asked more than 2,000 psychiatrists about AI's potential to change the developing brain. Their responses conveyed profound concern. More than 86% predicted the use of AI among children and teens would tend to inhibit brain development by replacing human interactions with lower quality synthetic socialization. And yet, despite concerns about screen time, not all the psychiatrists were pessimistic about AI. In that survey, about 60% said some children will benefit because AI platforms can tailor lessons to the individual needs of students.
You can have students that maybe have something that holds them back, but with the help of AI, maybe they can become the scientists they want to, but they can't do the formulas so well. The possibilities with AI is just endless.
Back at the Thornton Donovan School, teachers and administrators say they plan to use artificial intelligence intelligently, teaching even the youngest kids to think critically about chatbots and their output. They're even planning a school trip to Silicon Valley. These students, not afraid AI will eliminate their future careers, they expect AI skills will guarantee them a future paycheck.
I think that we shouldn't view it as AI is going to take over jobs. I think AI will only help you do your job better.
Chris Glorioso, NBC News.
Coming up, President's Day deals. It's the first major shopping holiday of the year, so we've got some of the deals that will help you save big and maybe others that aren't quite worth it, at least right now. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The President's Day weekend is giving many of you an extra day to sleep in, and maybe later today hit the big sales at stores. The experts at Retail Me Not are predicting nearly half of Americans will shop over this holiday weekend. Several major retailers are dropping prices on items like mattresses, appliances, and seasonal items like winter coats. But our NBC Select team says not every deal is worth it. If you haven't shopped the sales yet, you can still score some deals today. NBC Select reporter Zoe Mallon is here to walk us through which ones to jump on, which ones you can skip. I've still never met the person who sets their alarm to wake up on President's Day to go shopping, but you're out there. I know you exist. You have great deals. Let's talk about the good things first. What are some of the deals, the brands that you can get the best deals?
Absolutely. So President's Day is really the first time retailers can drop prices on their winter merchandise and make room for spring styles. That's why we'll see great deals on cold weather fashion like coats and boots. We're seeing deals right now at places like Columbia and LL Bean. Even REI is having some sales. And then beyond that, some of the great categories we see during any three-day holiday weekend include mattresses, so Sealy's, Sleepy's, Casper, Purple, as well as on bedding. So think about any place that sells, your sheets, your pillows like Brooklinen, as well as the Company Store and Pottery Barn. And a lot of those places also sell bath linens if you're looking for towels or robes. And then we'll also see great deals on large home and kitchen appliances. Think your Samsung, Maytag, Cuisinart. And oftentimes you can get 2-for-1 specials. So maybe you buy a refrigerator and then they take a little bit off that oven you're going to throw in too.
There you go. And then you get a mattress to go with it.
Exactly.
I still want to know how mattresses became the thing on President's Day. There's a story there somewhere. We'll find out about it someday. What should you skip? There's going to be some deals out there that maybe aren't the best deals for this time of year, right?
Absolutely. So since spring styles are rolling out right now, their prices are the highest. So any spring fashion, footwear, and clothing, this is really not the best time to buy those products, as well as anything related to warm weather outdoor activities, your patio furniture, grills, gardening. We recommend waiting a little bit longer. We'll start to see some great deals at the end of March and then more into Memorial Day sales in May. And then we'll also say this is not the best time to buy tech. We really don't see great tech deals until starting in July during Prime Day, and then again during Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
If you are shopping today on something where you can get a deal, what are some tips you have to maybe save a little extra money?
Yes, so the most important thing you can do is stack your savings. That means taking advantage of that deal price, layering on those promo codes and cash back opportunities. Poke around and comparison shop, see who has the product you want at the lowest price and the lowest shipping fee. Today might be a good time to join a loyalty program like an Amazon Prime, Target Circle. These are places that give access to exclusive deals for their members as well as some exclusive shipping options. You also make sure you want to price check. That That means you're using websites like Camel, 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 and Keepa to make sure that something's actually a good deal and not just discounted from an inflated baseline. We also recommend keeping your receipt. There might be opportunities to get a little bit of a refund if a price drops lower in the next few days. And then last but not least, look at those return policies. You do not want to get stuck with something you don't love. You don't want to sleep on that mattress you don't love forever, right?
I bought something the other day, and I think 3 times I asked the person, I'm like, 30 days, right? 30 days.
Yes,
right?
it's important to know.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're stuck with something.
Exactly.
So, all right. Great advice, Zoe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Happy President's Day shopping.
Happy President's Day shopping to you.
All right. And also, you can use this QR code on your screen, or you can go to NBCnews.com/select to shop for some of the products that we just mentioned. NBC News does earn a commission from purchases made through our links. Coming up, curling craze. We're going to head back to Italy for the latest from the Winter Games. And we're hearing from Team USA's men's curling team on the road it took to get there. Next. Back now with a look at the final full week of competition in the Winter Olympics, which is underway today across northern Italy. Team USA currently tied for 3rd place in the overall medal count, in a good position to maybe add to that total with several high-profile events ahead. NBC News correspondent Jay Gray is in Milan, joins us with the latest. Jay, a lot to cover after another busy weekend. One of the sports where the U.S. could have a strong showing is hockey. Busy weekend for them yesterday. They beat the German team 5-1. Talk about what's next for Team USA men's hockey.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, in that match against Germany, they looked as good as they've looked on the ice here in the Olympic tournament. Really seemed to be gelling and coming together. That win punched their ticket to the quarterfinals of the knockout round. It also gave them control of their group. They are now the number 2 seed overall in the medal round. Of course, 1 seat ahead of them is Canada, their arch rival. You know, a long way to go here, but again, it seems to be shaping up toward some kind of Canada-U.S. showdown in the gold medal match. Boy, wouldn't that be a shocker? It's only happened a few times in Olympic history, right, Joe? But they are looking good.
There are some things that are unpredictable at the Olympics and some things that are quite predictable in a U.S.-Canada hockey showdown is usually one. Speaking of, let's get to the women's hockey. After 2, the women are going to hit the ice against Sweden. This is the semifinal, so the winner does go to the gold medal game. What's the expectation here? How close are they to winning gold?
Look, these are the only 2 undefeated teams on the women's side in hockey, Sweden and the U.S. U.S. a heavy favorite in that one. They're expected to move through this and get to the gold medal round. Big if. I mean, it's a lot of work to do, and they've got to get there, but they have looked so strong during this tournament. On the other side of the bracket, Canada and Switzerland. The U.S. beat both those teams in group play 5-0. They shut them out. Again, Canada, U.S. in the finals could be, but let me give you some stats on this women's team, just show you how good they are. Again, 26-1 they've outscored opponents. They've only had 1 goal scored on them the entire Olympics, which is amazing to believe. Of their 5 games, 4 have been shutouts. Kind of makes sense when they've only allowed 1 goal. Here's the one that gets me, though. 271 minutes, 23 seconds of shutouts. That's the streak right now. That's how long it's been since anyone scored a goal on them. I'm going to say it again, 271 minutes, 23 seconds. That, of course, an Olympic record for women's hockey.
That is a lot of hockey there, holding your opponents scoreless. All right, let's get to the U.S. bobsled team. They're building toward history right now. 3 of the top 5 spots heading in today's finals of women's monobob. How do they look going into the final runs now?
I think you've got to think medals, plural, not medal. They look very strong. We know that things don't always work out the way we expect. We saw that in men's figure skating, but they are looking so good going into tonight's finals, and especially Myers-Taylor, rather. I'm sorry. This is just a bobsledding legend. She's the most decorated U.S. bobsledder. She's the only black athlete in the Winter Games to win 5 medals. She's 41 years old. She said that being a mom is tougher than being a bobsledder. She's going into this in 2nd place right now. She has gold, she has silver and bronze. Gosh, it'd be great to see her get a gold here and kind of complete the portfolio there. But she is she's just an amazing athlete, an amazing role model, and it's great to see her back in the mix again here in Milan.
Total inspiration there. Real quick, we should get to the men's and women's curling teams. 3-match winning streak. Women go today. Who do they face?
They play the host Italy. They've looked very strong, Joe. They both have a good beeline toward getting to the medal round on the women and men's side. So, yeah, they take on Italy.
And, Jay, we see folks scaling the Duomo there behind you. I assume it's to get a better view of you, right? That's what they're looking for?
It's got to be it. I mean, it's embarrassing. I have to wave to everybody, everyone. It's just... we all have our cross to bear, Joe.
Exactly. I can see them all waving back at you, all that money they paid to get that view. All right, Jay Gray, thank you so much. Good to see you, my friend. Speaking of the men's curling team, it's interesting to note that it is made up of all first-time Olympians who've been on quite the journey to get to Milan. Our Gotti Schwartz caught up with the team on their home ice before the games. Take a look.
They're the American men sliding into a new era of curling in Cortina. Luke Violette, Ben Richardson, Aiden Oldenburg, Rich Ruoinen, and the team skip Danny Casper have officially arrived for their Olympic debut with hopes of sweeping the curling world off its feet. We first caught up with Team Casper on their home ice in Minnesota last month. And there we saw a group of fresh faces and the same swag that's been on full display since they arrived in Italy. Their Olympic journey kick-started by a shocking victory. They knocked out Olympic champion and curling legend John Schuster and his team at the U.S. trials in November before qualifying for the Milan Cortina Games. For Danny, success has meant years of dedication that started early on the ice.
My great aunt and uncle were coached at the Olympics and played at the Olympics. My dad moved out east to New York, where I grew up, and him and my mom were kind of just like, well, we gotta try it. Like, you know,
it's in our blood.
He's like, my family's really good at it, I guess.
Danny moved to Minnesota at the age of 19, the American mecca of competitive curling.
It worked out for me and a lot of my friends my age that also weren't from Minnesota.
Now, at just 24 years old, he's balancing curling at the highest level while working at a car dealership.
You were up at 5 this morning. You're talking about 9 to 5. You'll do practice and then you'll go to work?
All of us, we get here, early in the morning, practice, drive straight to work, and, you know, sometimes at night we'll practice.
As the sport gains more traction, head coach Phil Drobnik is hoping Team Casper's young age could propel American curling to the next level.
We're in a spot in our sport where it's coming professionalized, and a lot of the people that we're competing against are full-time athletes and training full-time, and they're on the road full-time, and curling's their job. My hope is that one day we get to a point really soon where we can allow Danny's team, maybe next squad, to just go full-time and be full-time curlers.
Before practice wrapped, they let me on the ice for a crash course in curling. With beginner's luck on my side,
nice.
It's my first try.
Whoa! Look at that sweeping.
Yeah, I got pretty close. With broom in hand, I quickly realized that curling is where mind games and physics meets physicality.
Come on, Rock. Go, come on. Oh my gosh, my shoulders are burning.
Now you just have to do that for another like 2.5 hours.
After a few practice goes, we tried out the real thing.
And here I go.
Yep, sweep. Yep. Good shot. Good sweep.
With my curling skills sharpening, I couldn't resist challenging an Olympian and my producer to a round who, as luck would have it, happened to play baseball with Danny way back in the day.
We're back together, unstoppable. There you go, exactly.
Man, you knocked me to Kingdom Come, man.
Maybe a good omen for Team Casper, hoping to put the U.S. back on the medal stand for the first time since 2018.
I just think there's no good reason that I should miss this shot. And not in a negative pressure way, but in a confident way.
And that's confidence in your teammates.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're the reason why I'm good. We're definitely going to put our best foot forward. We can promise you that.
Our thanks to Gotti Schwartz for that story, and congrats to Daniel Kasper and his team on their historic win over Sweden, the reigning Olympic gold medal team. That victory on Sunday. Remember, you can catch all the best Olympic action on Primetime in Milan, hosted by Mike Tirico, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC and also streaming on Peacock. That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now, but stay with us. Good Monday morning. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. Right now on Morning News Now, a desperate new plea for answers from our Savannah Guthrie as the search for her missing mother, Nancy, enters a heart-wrenching third week.
It is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. We believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
We'll have the latest updates, including new DNA from a glove found miles from the Guthrie home. Authorities hoping it could lead to a suspect. In Washington, that ongoing partial government shutdown now enters its first full week. The party line funding fight taking shape over President Trump's controversial immigration crackdown and the real-world consequences that could be in store for millions of Americans if it keeps dragging on. Plus, a top name in talent, repping household names in the worlds of entertainment and sports, now putting his far-reaching agency up for sale. The deafening outrage in Hollywood over one media mogul's past ties to Jeffrey Epstein's former right-hand woman, Ghislaine Maxwell. And later in the hour, it's a tanking scandal that's rocking the NBA on the heels of All-Star Weekend. The two teams now staring down some hefty fines for moves that the league says undermine the spirit of competition. Let's begin this hour with the latest on the ongoing investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of our beloved NBC News colleague Savannah Guthrie. Despite the recent discovery of potentially key pieces of evidence, investigators still have not made any new arrests more than 2 weeks after her disappearance. Overnight, Savannah posted a new video on Instagram saying that she and her family still have hope. We want to share that video with you now in its entirety.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. We believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Our NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz is in Tucson for us with the latest on the investigation. Liz, good morning.
Hey there, good morning to you. Today marks day 16 of this search, and while it is still a complete mystery where Nancy is and who is behind this, we are learning about potential new evidence in this case, including about the glove, possible new video, and who officials are now leaning away from as potential suspects.
This morning, the Guthrie family refusing to give up hope with that new plea from Savannah, now over 2 weeks into the search for their missing mom, Nancy. And as the investigation continues, we're learning more about the gloves found in the area. According to the FBI, teams have recovered 16 gloves, many the FBI believes left behind by searchers. But according to a person familiar with the matter, one of them, found about 2 miles from her house, is consistent with the type of glove the suspect was wearing in the doorbell surveillance video. The FBI says the DNA on that glove appears to belong to an unknown male. According to a federal law enforcement source with knowledge of the investigation, investigators are not categorizing the case as any particular type of crime at this stage, adding that a burglary-robbery scenario is just one of the myriad theories being considered. After that scenario circulated over the weekend, the sheriff telling NBC affiliate KVOA, "I have no idea where that came from." Authorities going through the tips pouring in.
Are you close to finding this person?
We think we're getting there. We think we're getting closer.
Yet on Friday, another letdown after law enforcement, including SWAT teams, swarmed a home a mile from Nancy's property. You can hear authorities here yelling at people inside as they served a search warrant. They later conducted a traffic stop of this Range Rover. Ultimately, no arrests were made. Two law enforcement sources tell NBC News investigators are leaning away from the person who owns that home, along with the delivery driver they detained last week in Rio Rico. Those same officials say investigators are also leaning away from any of Nancy's relatives as potential suspects, now stressing that surveillance video footage could be key. Investigators working with private companies, including Google, to uncover more video.
You're working with the tech companies still?
And yeah, we've asked them, and they're working as best they can.
And as for the glove, the FBI says they're going to put the DNA on it into their national database. They say results for that take about 24 hours. Investigators are also still working to identify the DNA that was taken from Nancy's property that the sheriff's department says is not Nancy's or someone close to her. The big question and what we don't know right now is whether those two samples will be a match. Back to you.
All right, Liz, thank you. NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter is here to help us dig deeper into some of what we just heard there from Liz. Let's start with the glove and also just this DNA that doesn't belong to Nancy or anyone in the family. How potentially big of leads could these be?
You know, I know a lot of people focused on that FBI statement over the weekend. I'm a little more focused on our reporting and the rest of the statement, just because the gloves apparently look like the gloves that we're looking at right there on our screen from that doorbell camera. Look, the glove that was tested with DNA, Joe, that was found almost 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. It belongs to a male. That's all we know. If there is a match in CODIS, which is the Consolidated DNA Index System, that is only for people that have been arrested and or convicted of a crime. It's only about 6.5% of the U.S. population. So the best that you would know out of that, if there was a match, is that somebody, a man who had been arrested previously, dropped a glove approximately 2 miles from the house. You don't even know if he was the one that dropped it. You don't have any tie back to the crime. There's no Nancy Guthrie DNA. There's no female DNA. So it's a potential item of evidence, but really kind of a challenge.
We know that there were people who've been questioned over the last few days. Of course, no arrests at this point, but do we know if any of these interviews are yielding anything useful in helping the case move forward?
Yeah, so people look at it and say, all right, so nobody's been arrested, so it didn't work. Sometimes it can be helpful to run down a lead and then figure out, you know what, this is not going to be the person, because you can move on and move resources to other leads that you have. And that's what's happened here, because it's our reporting with my colleague Jonathan Deans that they've actually moved on from the person that they searched on Friday, the other person that they searched earlier in the week, on Tuesday into Wednesday overnight. And then, you know, there were these reports about the Guthrie family that were out there. Could they be, you know, were they looking at any particular family member? They moved away from that as well. So nobody is officially excluded. But look, they don't think that this is at this stage, anybody that they've previously stopped or searched is really a focus of the investigation.
We are now entering week 3 of this. Investigators you're speaking with, just how are they feeling? What is sort of the attitude that they have right now?
Yeah, the attitude that they have right now is they still have good leads. And they still have avenues to pursue. And there's certain events that they want to know about. So, you know, you could sit here and I think, you know, you hear that plea from Savannah. She's asking people to call. It's really heartfelt. It's really difficult to think about what she's going through. But they're not losing hope yet. They still think that they have some good leads. Another week or two, if they exhaust some of those good leads, that could be more of a challenge. That'll force them to reassess the investigation. But right now, they still feel like they have some things to track down.
And we know Savannah and her family still have hope as well.
That's right.
Tom Winter, thank you so much. Appreciate your reporting on this. As the investigation carries on, people all over the country are rallying around Savannah and her mother, Nancy. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch has more on the outpouring of support that started there in Tucson and has spread all over. Jesse, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. For days, people have been leaving yellow flowers like these outside of Nancy's home, and it started as a neighborhood effort. But now, as you mentioned, these shows of support have stretched well beyond Tucson.
From Nancy Guthrie's own driveway to communities across the country, this morning people all over America are thinking of Savannah's mom, who's now been missing for more than 2 weeks. Outside Nancy's Tucson home, this couple telling us they drove about 2 hours from the Phoenix area to deliver yellow flowers on Valentine's Day.
The support and the love, and people really are getting involved and they want to get her home.
At Nancy's local church in Tucson, Sunday prayers.
Oh, Lord God, let your peace wash over Nancy's family. Give them rest as they wait.
And while the Guthrie family waits, those prayers continue pouring in from well beyond Arizona.
I kind of feel like when I'm not sleeping, I'm constantly thinking of the Guthrie family.
Christy McCollum says she put up this yellow ribbon in Elgin, South Carolina, roughly 2,000 miles from Tucson. McCollum was inspired by the story NBC's Kelly O'Donnell shared about yellow flowers and ribbons right here on Today.
Sometimes you just need to be reminded that you may not know someone personally, but there's power in praying for them.
That embrace extending to social media, where people have reached out from Virginia, Arkansas, Texas, and California. Meanwhile, back in Tucson, people continue signing this banner outside NBC affiliate KVOA.
Signed from Florida, Minnesota, Michigan, even all the way from Fairbanks, Alaska. All of these people united in sending the message, bring her home.
When you see that people way beyond Tucson are showing their support, what does that say to you?
Well, that says love. We love each other and we need to support each other in these hard times.
Those signs of support bright and hopeful.
I want people not to forget we can still bring her home.
Christy also told me she sees our colleague Savannah as someone who cares about people in this country. And so for her, for Christy, she sees this as an opportunity to show that care right back for the Guthrie family. Christy telling me she believes that the Guthrie family has, quote, a nation behind them. Joe.
No doubt. All right, Jesse, thank you so much. In Washington, the third day of this latest partial government shutdown is well underway. The Department of Homeland Security ran out of funding over the weekend, and the nation's airports are bracing for travel delays if this one drags on. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us with the latest. Gabe, good morning.
Joe, good morning. This is already the third partial government shutdown of President Trump's second term, and both Republicans and Democrats are digging in for another fight. This morning, a partial government shutdown is entering its third day. Democrats refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security over President Trump's ongoing immigration enforcement policies after 2 American citizens were shot dead in Minneapolis.
We've drawn a hard line in the sand on behalf of the American people.
Among the reforms Democrats want, a uniform code of conduct for ICE operations, that ICE agents stop wearing face masks and obtain warrants signed by a judge before making arrests. The president has not said he'll make any concessions.
We'll see what happens. We always have to protect our law enforcement.
For now, Democrats holding firm. Over the weekend, former President Obama speaking out about ICE in a new podcast interview.
So the rogue behavior of agents of the federal government is deeply concerning and dangerous.
DHS is a sprawling department with more than 200,000 employees. It includes ICE, but also other critical agencies like FEMA, the Coast Guard, and the TSA. Those employees will be required to work without pay during a shutdown, though ICE has already received $75 billion last year through what President Trump called his big, beautiful bill.
They're not stopping ICE from doing their job. All this is a political theater.
The nation's airports now bracing for potential travel delays if the shutdown drags on. The last one lasted 43 days, and some unpaid TSA employees called out from work, creating massive delays nationwide.
You can only plan so far ahead before food starts going bad, or how many cups of ramen soup am I going to feed my kids?
Roberto Echeverria is a TSA officer in Salt Lake City.
Instead of us focusing 100% on national security, we're having to focus on where our next paycheck is going to come from.
And there appears to be no end in sight to this standoff because Congress is on recess this week.
Joe.
All right, Gabe, thank you. Tomorrow in Switzerland, U.S. and Iranian officials are expected to kick off a new round of talks about the Islamic Republic's nuclear program. These renewed discussions come after the U.S. dispatched a second aircraft carrier to the region last week. Our chief international correspondent, Keir Simmons, joins us with the latest on this. Keir, good morning. So heading into tomorrow's discussions, just what do U.S. and Iranian officials say they want to get out of these talks?
Well, different things, and that may be the challenge here. So Iranian negotiators are in Europe now, Joe. They just met with the International Atomic Energy Agency before those indirect talks with the US set for tomorrow. The Iranians are trying to frame this as entirely a negotiation around Iran's nuclear program and whether Iran would be prepared to remove that nuclear program. They say at the moment what they're offering, or at least they don't say it openly, but they suggest, it's intimated, that they would be prepared to, if you like, water down the 60% enriched uranium, about 400 kilograms of that enriched uranium. On the other hand, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, framing these negotiations as hard, while saying the administration is going to try. President Trump has talked about it as not just about the nuclear program, also about Iran's proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis, also about its ballistic missiles, an artillery of ballistic missiles that Iran has, and about the way it treats its own people. The Iranians, for their part, saying, we're not going to talk about that. And so, frankly, even before these talks begin, and we've had one set of talks already, there are differences just about what they should be talking about.
Keir, of course, we had those deadly protests in Iran last month that made so many headlines. Just in the wake of that, how have Iranians responded to these talks with the U.S.?
Well, I guess in a sense you could say we don't know because of the internet blackout that was imposed in Iran around the crushing of those talks. That being said, we have seen protests through the weekend around the world against the Iranian regime, not least in Europe itself, where these talks were set to take place. And they were very well-attended protests. So there is a sense, certainly among Iranians outside of Iran, and I think you can assume among many Iranians inside Iran, that they do want things to change. The challenge, of course, is whether the US is able to impose change from the outside, because what no one's talking about is the potential for the US to put boots on the ground, to actually invade Iran, of course.
Yeah, and of course we have a second aircraft carrier headed to the Middle East right now. I mean, does it seem like US strikes on Iran are still on the table?
Oh, yes. Well, no question they're on the table. I mean, effectively, President Trump is turning up the pressure by sending that second aircraft carrier to this region and is even suggesting that regime change in Iran is, quote, the best thing that could happen. So what he's doing is he is escalating the threat. Now, that may be in order to try and get to some kind of a agreement with Iran, but we talked about how difficult that may be. Certainly what we've been seeing is enormous amounts of hardware, if you like, being flown here, not least to protect the tens of thousands of US servicemen and women in this region, the US bases, but also US allies like Israel and Arab countries. So those two aircraft carriers, those in and of themselves are an enormous amount of firepower, but there's much more, F-35s, for example, and there'll be plenty that we aren't seeing, submarines, for example. So the Trump administration is acting like it is prepared to carry out a strike or strikes while saying it wants to negotiate. The question again, if those negotiations fail, what next? The strikes seem likely, Joe.
All right. Keir Simmons, thank you so much. Here in the U.S., opening statements will begin in Georgia in the trial of a teenage school shooter's father. Prosecutors argue Colin Gray is partly responsible after authorities say his teenage son, Colt, killed 2 students and 2 teachers at the Appalachia High School shooting. It happened in a town northeast of Atlanta back in 2024, and it's another example of a move to try and hold parents responsible for their kids' gun violence. NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist joins me now with more on this. Aaron, good morning. First, just tell us exactly what is it the father is being charged with?
Well, Joe, Colin Gray is looking at 180 years in prison if he's convicted after this trial gets underway here in Georgia. And you're right, there's something unique about the charges he's facing right now. We know there are 29 different counts upon which he is going to be tried, and the most serious among them, 2 counts of second-degree murder for the deaths of 2 students, 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter for the deaths of the 2 teachers in this case, and then several other charges of cruelty to children. And it's important to point those out because that cruelty charge, or those cruelty charges, really are required to, he's required to be found guilty on those in order for those second-degree murder charges to be considered something that he can be found guilty of as well. And this, of course, is a case, as you noted, that follows other instances. In particular, we think about the Crumleys, that family, the mother and father who were charged with involuntary manslaughter after their son was accused of a school shooting back in 2021. They were found guilty on those involuntary manslaughter charges, Joe. In this case, though, we're talking about a murder charge for this father.
Aaron, prosecutors are arguing that Colin was aware of his son's poor mental health condition before the shooting, and despite that, still gave him an assault-style weapon as a Christmas gift. Just what do we expect to hear during opening statements today from both sides as they try to make their arguments here?
Yeah, I think you're going to hear prosecutors really point to those facts as an explanation for why they think these charges in particular do apply. We've learned through other testimony and through investigators' filings in court that Colin Gray had bought this gun, an AR-style rifle, for his son after investigators had come to their house. Police went to their house in 2023 because they were concerned that Colt Gray, the son, may have been writing about potentially carrying out a school shooting. Eventually, police were not able to really tie that to him, but investigators believe that this gun was bought for Colt Gray after that encounter with police, and they say that this cruelty charge applies here because Gray gave his son a gun and ammo after sufficient warning that Colt would harm people. And so that's really the theory of the case that we're going to hear, I think, from prosecutors, Joe. On the defense side, they're going to have to show, I think, even though the burden we know is on prosecutors, the defense is going to want to show that Colin Gray didn't foresee this sort of an incident happening, didn't foresee his son carrying out a shooting at school.
You just mentioned the Crumbleys. Both Colt and his father were charged just after that case in Michigan, and that was the first time in U.S. history we saw this happen. This case in Georgia, how could this set a new precedent?
Yeah, the prosecutor in this case said that he wasn't looking necessarily at the Crumbley case. He wasn't trying to do something similar in terms of accountability as what we saw in Michigan a couple of years ago. But obviously there are similarities in these two instances where a prosecutor has said parents were negligent, or a parent was negligent in this case, and they believe that that parent should be held responsible, at least partly, for what happened, for the deaths of these 4 people and injuries of 9 others at this school in Georgia. And so I think we're seeing these two cases that are similar. There have been other cases in this country in between the Crumbley case and now where you've had parents who've also faced some level of culpability for the actions of their children, Joe. We're going to see how this plays out. There will be cameras in the courtroom for most of this trial. We know that there will be at least one child testifying in this case, Joe. We won't see that testimony necessarily, but we'll be watching very closely to see how this all plays out.
All right, Aaron, we know you'll stay on it. Thank you so much. Time now for weather. California bracing for back-to-back storms this week. Meteorologist Andrea Romero is here tracking what's on the way. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. It's going to be an active week ahead for the West Coast as we have these series of systems that are going to be moving onshore. The first one is moving in today. It's going to be bringing heavy rain, the chance of some flash flooding into Southern California, and impossible travel conditions over the Sierra Nevada today and for the next couple of days. Tomorrow we have this other strong push of moisture onshore with widespread wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour possible across the western part of the country. And of course, we're expecting not only the rain over Southern California, but the snow to move on over into the Rockies. Beneficial snow because we have had that snow drought in the area. So talking about the rain that we're getting today, we can see all that heavy rainfall from San Francisco all the way down to San Luis Obispo. We're expecting the chance of maybe some severe weather, maybe an isolated chance of a tornado. So you want to make sure you have a way to get those weather alerts if you live in that region. Now, as far as the flood alerts, we do have a flood watch up from Santa Barbara into Los Angeles. About 11 million people are impacted. And we do have the chance of that flash flood, especially in those recent burn scar areas where we can see that debris flow form with locally up to 7 inches of rainfall possible through Wednesday as these storm systems continue to move onshore. And as far as snowfall, we're looking at accumulations in feet across the area, especially in the Sierra Nevada. Up to 5 feet of snowfall is possible. And we do have those winter alerts extending all the way into Montana. And of course, in the Midwest, in the heart of the nation, we're looking at record warm temperatures. It's a completely different story. We're enjoying their record high temperatures today that will continue to move on into the southeast. So those record warm temperatures will continue to impacting that area.
So we have skiing in the mountains and then suntans in the middle of the country. All right, thanks, Andrea. Appreciate it. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including the scandal that is now rocking the NBA on the heels of All-Star Weekend. First, though, after the break, we're going to head back to Milan for all of today's Olympic action, including a semifinal showdown on deck. The women Warriors of Team USA Hockey set to face off against Sweden on their path to gold. We're covering it all next. We're back. I put on my little Olympic pin here, which means we must be talking about the latest from the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympic Games. Over the weekend, Jordan Stoltz not only won Team USA's first gold medal in the men's 500-meter speed skating in 20 years, he broke an Olympic record while doing it. From speed skating to figure skating, Team USA has decided not to appeal the controversial scoring for the ice dance competition that involved Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. NBC News International correspondent Claudio Lavanga is in Milan and joins us with the latest on these headlines. Claudio, good morning. So let's start with Jordan Stoltz, the 500-meter speed skating matchup over the weekend. I believe he already set an Olympic record during this year's games, and then he did it again?
Yeah, that's right. Jordan Stoltz not only won 2 gold medals, he also broke the Olympic records both times. One in the 500 meters on Saturday and the other one in 1,000 meters on Wednesday. And since he has 3 more events to go before the end of the Olympics this week, well, then he's well on his way to become the second American athlete in Winter Games history to win 3 or more gold medals in the same event after Eric Hayden. So we'll be watching.
Yeah, the pride of Wisconsin there. All right, let's switch gears, talk about figure skating. Ilya Malinen's Friday night performance. He was expected to take home gold. He ended up in 8th place after just a disastrous performance. Walk us through what happened here, Claudio.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. That's probably going to go down as the biggest upset and surprise of this Winter Olympics when it comes to Team USA. Of course, he came in as the grand favorite with a reputation of being unbeatable. He won everything in the last 2 years. The question here was not whether he will win gold, but by what margin. Instead, he came in, he went on the ice and started to stumble. He fell twice. He failed to complete some of his trademark moves like the quad axel, but also some of the easier ones. And in the end, he finished 8th. After that competition, he admitted that the pressure that was placed on him, all the media attention, the fact that he arrived as a gold favorite, well, it was too much for him to handle. Now we can still see Ilya Malinen this week. On Saturday, he's expected to take part in the gala exhibition of figure skating. There's no judges, there's no medals there, so he's going to have no pressure. So hopefully he'll be back just to wow the audience as he's been for the last couple of years, John.
Yeah, always a fun way to wrap up the Olympics, that exhibition there. Speaking of figure skating, Team USA announced it is not going to appeal that controversial score that Madison Chalk and Evan Bates got during their competition against France. They ended up with the silver. The French ended up with gold. What can you tell us about this decision?
Yeah, that's right, Joe. I mean, after that final in ice dance at the end of last week, there were some criticism about a high score that a French judge gave to the winning French couple, despite a couple of mistakes by the French duo when actually Chalk and Bates made no mistakes. Well, in the end, the U.S. Figure Skating Federation had 24 hours to appeal. They decided not to appeal, but Chalk and Bates, of course, walk away with a silver medal, which is also,
Team expected to take the ice semifinal matchup. What should we know?
Yeah, 10:40 Eastern. It's U.S. versus Sweden in the semifinal. They will be watching. Actually, the last time the U.S. and Sweden met was in the semifinal again, but in 2014 in the Sochi Games, Team USA won 6-1. So let's hope in a repeat of that. Joe.
Yeah, the women are on fire there. All right, real quick, Claudio, we also want to ask you about something that you've been digging into, the closing ceremony. It's going to take place Sunday in the historic Verona Arena. That location sounds quite familiar. I know you went to the City of Love to get a peek at what to expect. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Joe. I mean, Valentine's Day was just a couple of days ago, but of course every day is good. It's a good day to celebrate love in Verona, the city of Romeo and Juliet. So we thought we asked some athletes in Team USA to write a love letter to their sports to Juliet. For almost 2,000 years, Verona's arena has wowed audiences through the ages. The ancient Romans used it to host games like gladiator battles. These days, it's a venue for concerts and opera. But in February, this amphitheater will be used for a different kind of spectacle, the closing ceremony of the Winter Olympics. And there is no better place for athletes from around the world to celebrate their passion for their sport. Because Verona is also the city of love, home to Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Countless people come to Verona every year to visit Juliet's balcony, but did you know that thousands more from around the world write letters addressed to Juliet looking for love advice? The story even inspired a Hollywood movie.
There is a place where the heartbroken leave notes, asking Juliet for her help.
So we asked some athletes in Team USA to write a love letter for their sports and the Olympics. Freestyle skier Jaylin Koff.
Dear Juliet, I fell in love with mogul skiing chasing my family down the hill.
And real-life Romeo and Juliet, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, a couple on and off the ice.
Dear Juliet, I fell in love with skating when I was a young boy.
Dear Juliet, falling in love with skating led me to find the love of my life.
The letters addressed to Juliet arrive here at the Juliet Club, steps away from the balcony, where volunteers read them and reply as if they were Juliet. Hi, I have a special delivery from Team USA.
Dear Juliet, falling in love with skating led me to find the love of my life. I feel so blessed to have found two great loves in my life. Your love story with Romeo has inspired lovers all around the world and will be remembered forever. I hope ours will be too.
Modern-day Juliets will now reply to each one of the athletes, wishing them all the best for their lives, love, and of course, the Olympics. Well, now, Joe, of course, we asked the athletes to write that love letter to Juliet before the Olympics started. Since then, Koff, she won 2 silver medals here at the Olympics. Chalk and Bates won gold and silver. So it looks like Juliet wrote them luck.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. And real quick here, from Verona to Milan, I want to note we were in Milan about a week ago. I had the chance to hang out with Claudio for a little bit while we were there. Always good to see him in Italy. Claudio gives the best advice, like where to eat, where to shop. In fact, this shirt I'm wearing right now, I got after Claudio pointed us to the neighborhood to go shopping in. So just so you know, he does it all, Claudio.
Thank you.
Good to see you. All right. Coming up, the leadership crisis facing the nation's top medical research agency. Morning News Now returns why the National Institutes of Health remain in dire need of directors and how the Trump administration's controversial health policies could impact American discoveries in the future. That's next. We're back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with the latest on Utah Republicans' efforts to repeal a gerrymandering ban in their state. NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach joins us with that and more. Gary, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Here's what's happening in politics now. Utah Republicans are celebrating this morning after saying they've collected enough signatures to send what's called Prop 4 to Utah voters. Prop 4 will ask voters for their thoughts on the state's ban on partisan gerrymandering, which was put in place by the people of Utah back in 2018. Republicans are asking Utah voters to repeal the ban, which would shut down an independent redistricting commission and return to the state's legislature its ability to redistrict how they wish. After county clerks confirm the thousands of signatures, the ballot initiative could be in front of Utah voters in November. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly's attorneys are pleading with the Department of Justice, asking them not to try to indict the retired Navy captain again, after he and 5 of his congressional colleagues posted a video reminding members of the military they don't have to follow legal orders. Attorney Paul Fishman writing a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, suggesting it would be a remarkable abuse of the department's power after NBC News was first to report DOJ had failed to indict the lawmakers last week. And finally, former President Obama is speaking out about the Trump administration's rhetoric and behavior days after the president posted a racist video online depicting Obama and his wife as apes. Obama called the administration's behavior broadly, quote, deeply troubling and a clown show. Obama says he believes most people around the country still believe in decency, courtesy, and kindness. That's what's happening in politics now. Joe, back to you.
All right, Gary, thank you so much. The nation's top medical research agency is facing a major leadership gap. More than a dozen key director positions at the National Institutes of Health are currently unfilled. The NIH is made of 27 institutes and centers. It remains the world's largest public funder of biomedical research, but 16 of those centers do not have permanent directors. It's a result of terminations, resignations, and retirements since President Trump began his second term. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News health reporter Aria Bendix. Aria, good to have you with us. So all but 2 of these vacant positions opened after President Trump took office last year. The latest department came just a few days ago. It was on Friday. So what is driving this wave of turnover at the NIH, and which institutes are feeling it the most?
So this is an unprecedented situation that the NIH is facing, Joe. Over the past year, the Trump administration has been firing institute directors or letting their contracts expire faster than it can replace them. So one of the most glaring vacancies is at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. That, you may know, is the institute that Dr. Anthony Fauci led for nearly 4 decades. It helps fund research to prevent and treat things like COVID, AIDS, influenza, other health threats. And the most recent director there, Dr. Jeannie Marrazza, was actually fired by Secretary Kennedy in October, and there's still no replacement for her. We also have an open director spot at the Division for Neurological Disorders, which funds Alzheimer research. So these are major roles, Joe, with a lot of influence just sitting empty.
Yeah, these are some of the most powerful positions in medicine. Some oversee multi-billion-dollar budgets. So why are they taking so long to fill?
It's a great question. We don't quite know what the holdup is. What we do know is that the NIH is no longer following the normal process for recruiting new directors. Normally, it would assemble a search committee and interview candidates, but the head of the NIH, Jay Bhattacharya, has said his agency isn't following that rubric. It's actually informally reaching out to people instead. And that has many staffers that I've spoken with concerned that new directors will be chosen based on ideology rather than scientific credentials, and that the Trump administration is using these vacancies as an opportunity to reshape NIH according to its vision, Joe.
We should be clear how odd this is, because for most of its 139-year history, the NIH has pretty much operated outside of partisan politics. It's funded breakthroughs from HIV treatments to COVID vaccines, cancer drugs. Now we do have Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. helping to choose its next members. Do we have an idea of what that could mean for the agency, just the future of medical research here?
I mean, the big concern here, Joe, is that the NIH will become politicized if the new directors are more loyal to the Trump administration than they are to independent science. And staffers say they've already seen signs of that, with Kyle Walsh, a close friend of the vice president, being appointed to lead the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences, even though the former director had just been renewed for a second term. And in the long run, staffers really worry that NIH won't be able to attract the talent it's historically been known for throughout that 139-year history. If that happens, biomedical research in the U.S. could become less competitive compared to other countries like China. So there's a lot at stake here, Joe, and quite frankly, the future is uncertain at this point.
It's an important story here, Aria. Thanks for covering it. Appreciate it. Coming up, another banner weekend of NBA action, but it was overshadowed by tanking allegations that are now forcing 2 top teams to pay up. We're going to take you inside what exactly went down and just the broader impact it's all having on the league's rosters. That's next. We're back with a major development, a shakeup at one of the world's most powerful talent agencies. Wasserman Agency CEO Casey Wasserman told staff in an internal memo on Friday he is putting the company up for sale. This decision comes as scrutiny grows over his past communications with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Newly released Epstein files show Wasserman exchanged flirtatious emails with Maxwell in the early 2000s and flew on Epstein's private plane. Since those emails became public, some high-profile clients, including singer-songwriter Chappell Roan and Soccer Hall of Famer Abby Wambach, have cut ties with the agency. Wasserman has apologized to employees for his, quote, past personal mistakes and has said he did not have a personal or business relationship with Epstein. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Molas is here with the latest. Chloe, we should note Wasserman has not been charged with any crimes related to Epstein or to Maxwell, but in the meantime, obviously, we're feeling the effects of this. What happens to his agency right now? Do we know who's running sort of the day-to-day operation?
We do. The person who will be stepping in is no stranger to the company. His name is Mike Watts. He was one of the first hires by Casey Wasserman when he started the talent agency. He's the former COO and president, and he will be running the day-to-day. In that memo that you referenced, Joe, that Wasserman sent out to his staff on Friday, he said that he's become a distraction and that he deeply regrets his past personal mistakes that have caused everybody so much discomfort. And there have been growing calls from celebrities and athletes like Abby Wambach, who cut ties with the agency in the last week or so, asking and demanding Casey Wasserman to step aside. And that is exactly what he's doing. He says he's going to be selling this company. And again, Mike Watts will be running day to day. So perhaps this will sort of stop the bleeding for right now, because they have so many high profile clients that range across different industries in Hollywood. And, you know, they can't have all of them leave. And Chappell Roan and Abby Wambach, like I said, are among the most high profile.
What do we know about the events that sort of led to this announcement to sell and just how that has been affecting the agency's client roster?
Sure. Well, I mean, by now, as everybody knows or should know, there have been a lot of documents that have been released by the government in connection to Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and there are emails between Ghislaine and Casey Wasserman from 2003 that are sexual in nature, overtly flirty, and he was actually married at the time. But Wasserman, when these emails first came out and were revealed publicly, he said, look, I regret this, but it stopped right there. I had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, nothing to do with minors. He did go on a humanitarian trip to Africa with the Clinton Foundation on Epstein's private plane. But he says, you know, look, this was a humanitarian trip. And again, like you said, nothing has ever shown that Casey Wasserman did anything criminal. But I think it just goes to show you, Joe, that people have zero tolerance being connected to anybody that could be tangentially connected to Epstein. And that's why you're seeing this chorus of people telling him to step aside, and you know what? He listened, and he is.
Quickly, we should note Wasserman's also the chairman of the 2028 LA Olympics Executive Committee. Last week, organizers said they had an internal review. They would keep him in that role after that review. Do we know what it found? Is there still some scrutiny here?
So the LA 28 Olympics Committee, Joe, they hired a third-party law firm to look into these potential Epstein connections, and what they found is that they had really no merit. That they said in part in a statement last week that a review was conducted of Mr. Wasserman's past interactions with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Mr. Wasserman fully cooperated with the review, and we found Mr. Wasserman's relationship with Epstein and Maxwell did not go beyond what was already been publicly documented. So for now, he is still in charge of seeing through the Olympics in LA in 2028, and he has been responsible for raising a ton of money. We're talking billions of dollars, and there are still billions of dollars more to go in this fundraising. And, you know, they need him. But if this continues to potentially more documents come out, more connections to Epstein, you could potentially see them kick him off that committee. But for right now, he still holds a very powerful position. And you can imagine that that is one of the reasons why he's stepping aside from the Wasserman Agency. He does not want to lose his post. He even said in that memo to staff that he is going to be focusing all of his efforts right now on the LA 2028 Olympics.
2.5 years away. All right, Chloe, thank you so much. Over the weekend, basketball fans were treated to a competitive NBA All-Star game that they've been waiting years for. It's all thanks to this brand new round-robin format that made its debut last night in Los Angeles. It's a 3-team tournament. It ended with the Young Gun USA Stars winning the first ever All-Star championship. Anthony Edwards was named All-Star MVP. But the All-Star Weekend hype got overshadowed a bit by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. He publicly put his foot down to stop teams across the league from Tanking, that's the term that describes a team intentionally losing games or just not being terribly competitive in order to secure a better draft pick. The commissioner now says the league is considering, quote, every possible remedy to stop that practice. For more on this, let's bring in national NBA and basketball business reporter for The Athletic, Mike Morkanov. Mike, good to have you with us. So tanking is a term that maybe we've heard for decades across several pro sports leagues in the U.S. Walk us through why the commissioner is cracking down on it now. How big of a problem does it appear to be in the NBA?
Yeah, tanking is a decades-old problem in the NBA, but according to Adam Silver, he says this is the worst it's ever been so far this season. I don't know if that's true. It's been pretty bad over the last few years too, but the NBA has had enough. They fined the Utah Jazz $500,000 last week for what they said was not playing their players in the fourth quarter, their best players. They fined the Indiana Pacers $100,000. And Adam Silver is indicating that the league is looking through a full remedy of options for them and figuring out how to stop tanking and how to prevent teams from not trying their best to win games, especially over the second half of the season when so many teams are already out of the playoffs, trying to maximize their lottery odds to get the best draft pick possible, to get the best player possible in the draft instead of caring about winning as many games as they can for the rest of the season.
Or playing competitively against other teams that are trying to figure out if they're going to make the playoffs too. So you mentioned the two teams that got fined there. I mean, beyond that, how can the NBA police this sort of thing? I mean, how can you actually prove a team is tanking or they might just be bad?
Yeah, it's a fine line. And sometimes a team might be bad because it's trying to tank, or it's tanking because it's just become bad unexpectedly. With the Jazz, they got fined $500,000 because in a game earlier this month, they didn't play their best players in the fourth quarter in a few games. The NBA said, well, we don't like the looks of that. We think that's anti-competitive, right? With the Indiana Pacers, they basically didn't play a bunch of their players. They're already hampered this year. They don't have their best player in Tyrese Halliburton. They're one of the worst teams in the league, so are the Jazz. But they didn't play some of their best players in a game. And this all comes as the Jazz, if their pick lands outside of the top 8 selections, it goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they have a strong incentive to try to keep their pick. The Indiana Pacers, if their pick lands outside the top 4, it goes to the LA Clippers. So they have a strong incentive to keep their pick. And there are a number of other teams who are in similar positions who are trying to maximize their draft picks. But the NBA can figure out how to step in. They can look through injury reports to see if players are legitimately sitting out. They can look at the way that players play during the game, their rotations. There's a lot of steps that they can take to basically look into the inner workings of a team, but that creates conflict too, because now you have the league jumping into your business as a team and really just like getting into the weeds. And that's not a great place for the NBA or for teams either.
We only have like 20 seconds left here, but beyond investigating, is there anything they can actually do to prevent it? Any sort of guardrails?
I mean, you can get rid of the draft altogether. That seems to be one of the things that the league is thinking about. You can change the lottery odds. You can include stiffer punishments for all of these teams. So the NBA is weighing a full choice of options. Where they ultimately land on, we'll see. But it's a hard subject to try to figure out.
No kidding. All right, Mike Morkanov, good to have you with us. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Coming up, a recreational invention that you might say could have only come out of the Midwest. When you're braving the great outdoors and nature calls, sometimes you've got to go ice fishing. That is, we're going to explain next. We end this hour with the story of how a Wisconsin man's passion for fishing led to a rather creative invention. Reporter Tim Elliott from our affiliate station in Madison, WMTV, shows us the porta potty named after a freshwater fish that has been transformed into the ideal ice fishing shanty.
When it's cold in Wisconsin and the lakes are frozen,
let's just do it.
Sometimes you just gotta go.
The crappie shack, it's just perfect.
Ice fishing.
We're learning new things with it all the time, so it's just going to get better and better.
Jeremy Barnett is a construction worker by trade.
I've spent quite a bit of time in a porta potty.
He says a few years ago, he came up with the idea to turn an old porta potty into an ice fishing shanty.
When you're on a job site and all you have is a porta potty and it's 0 degrees out, you're sitting on it and you're freezing. And you're thinking, well, I might as well just be on a lake fishing.
He's fishing on Black Hawk Lake in Cobb, Wisconsin.
I just like sitting in here and jigging for fish, you know, and I can do it all day.
Inside, it's a tight fit.
And it's reasonably comfortable for one guy.
But Barnett has all the creature comforts that you could want.
I got the heater up here, and then I got a little cabinet for the electronics here. And then my jigging holes. This whole thing lights up, and this roof just turns straight bright yellow. But yeah, I got the TV mount here, and it actually holds heat pretty well. And when I first made it, it had a flat seat, so it wasn't real comfortable, so I contoured it so it kind of hugs your butt.
And when this spot is all fished out, the crappie shack sits on skis, so Barnett can move easily elsewhere on the ice.
Everybody wants to see it, you know.
The crappie shack gets a ton of visitors.
Oh, they love it. They love it. They laugh. They laugh about it, and they think it's really cool.
But for Barnett, being in nature and doing what he loves is the real catch.
I just like hanging out with the fellas, you know. It's camaraderie or whatever. But yeah, I love ice fishing.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Just relax, you know. I'm not at work, so that's good.
When nature calls. Thanks to Tim Elliott for that story. To be clear, it's the crappie shack. It's pronounced crappie. It's no longer a functioning porta potty. It's just a fishing shanty. But Barnett also said another bigger shack is in the works. He hopes to have that one ready for next winter. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. Stay with us. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.